the audience is upset. The audience, the podcast.
Oh, with you, man.
Oh,
wait, can I say this? Can I?
I got attacked in studio last night by an artist I'm not gonna name. Attacked, my brother.
Hold on. Are you talking about the same thing I'm gonna think? Right?
Yes.
Is it
about Wretch Scorcher?
Yes.
That's exactly what.
The audience is upset.
Wait. Is it because they feel like you lot are sitting on the fence?
Yes.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I don't get. What is this like?
Okay.
What is this thing about you lot being cultural pundits and like you've been given this title? And that you're somehow obliged that you have to talk about things.
Chuckie will say
in depth.
All right.
And then I'll explain why I have to say what I said.
So, okay, just for some people who are not aware, I'm going to give some context into what's happened here. So there's an issue between Scorcher and Wretch that a small percentage of people had been privy to before anything had come out in art. Yeah. So now Scorcher's come out, he's done a freestyle or whatever. He said, had a shot at Wretch, and then now people are talking about it. Okay, Wretch has now come out on his Instagram and said, if you're having the shot at my mines or whatever it may be, go suck your mum. But he didn't say Scorcher. He just said anyone who is, anyone who is.
That's a big statement as well.
Mines, for whatnot. So now, what that has done is, for the people who are now aware that there's an issue between Scorcher and Wretch, I think that they maybe turn to us to come out and say, with this little piece of information, bearing in mind, okay, I know more than just a little piece of information, but these are things that I'm not going to come out and just sit here on the podcast and discuss these private things that are going on in these people's private lives. This is serious stuff. But it's like people want me or want us to come out and say, oh my God, Wretch, you're fuckery. Oh, Scorcher, why did you, what's going, like, for me, when all of this was going on, when I first was hearing what was happening,
this is time ago. This ain't new information.
It was, firstly, it's like, okay, this sounds a bit mad, but I don't know. I'm just hearing surface information. Yeah. I'm just hearing, Wretch, obviously I know Scorcher was with Sadie and then they've had a child together and then I've heard that Wretch is with Sadie. This is all I know at this point, yeah. Essentially, it's not really any of my business. I'm a fan of both of them. And if the information, of course, as a person who's kind of curious and as a person who sometimes likes to hear a little bit of goss here and there, yeah? Like, of course I like to hear that, but true, I'm a fan of these guys or whatever, and there's a private thing going on, and there's a child involved. Do you know what? See this one here? I'm not going to...
This is proper private. This is proper private stuff.
Wait, I'm not going to die for this information, because clearly there's a child here, there's something going on, personal things, these lot are going through whatever they're going through. Scorcher's done whatever it is that he's done. Essentially, there's actually not even that much to talk about or speculate on. Now, I know obviously you've got things to say, but let me just, because I've got so much I want to say on this.
You do your thing.
Firstly, when Wretch came here, and I sat and did a podcast with Wretch,
How long ago was that?
Not that long ago. It was like maybe November.
Oh, right, okay.
It was November, Yeah. Now, I'm a man, like, a lot of my favorite artists are speakers. Like, they go on they go in the studio and they like pour their heart out in their shit and they say things or whatever. And one of the reasons why I like certain artists is because sometimes they say things that I relate to, or sometimes they just be talking. And obviously there's mood artists that don't just chat shit and they just vibe, and I like that for where it is. But one of the reasons why I like Wretch and one of the reasons why I like Scorcher is because they have their moments when they're just telling you about things and things that's going on or whatever. And I'm a man who loves to listen to lyrics. So correct me if I'm wrong. When I'm listening to Wretch's album, I'm not hearing anything that has got anything to do with a situation between him being with a friend's baby mum or anything like that. If it was, and it was in the art, him sitting on that couch, I'm a man who loves to dissect lyrics and understand what people are talking about.
Yeah.
We would have unpacked that. That wouldn't have been a problem for me at all. We would have discussed that. However, if there's this little rumor that's been circling around that people are discussing, and yes, I do see and know certain things, for me personally, I would feel like it would be so irresponsible for me to come out and talk about this big thing, talk about this thing that's happening on this big platform when it's just a small percentage of people that are discussing that. For me personally, that just doesn't feel right within me.
Can I pause you for a sec? He did... correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he did touch on it on his latest project.
Did he? Well,
I think
then
there was a line where
He did touch on it.
Did he? I missed it then.
He did touch on it.
I
You missed
missed
it, but he
I
did
missed
touch on
it.
it. He did. It wasn't
Obvious.
as obvious as
It wasn't,
Scorcher
okay. I
in
missed-
his freestyle, but he
Bro,
touched on it.
I
And that's the thing.
missed it.
People around him that know him know.
Yeah, of course.
But they say-
All rappers
Bro,
stand for each other and touch
of
on things.
course.
Every single
But
one. We just
do you
don't
know what? I missed it.
But God bless
I
them
missed
all.
it, and sometimes that's just how it goes, innit? Like now that Scorcher has done whatever it is that he's done, and there's a situation that's happening or whatnot, then again, even speaking to Scorcher from before, I want him to come on the podcast, not because this is happening, but because I'm a fan of this brother, and like I just think he's sick. So it's good. I'm not a person who comes out here and chases moments. I just want to have a conversation about life, music, whatever. And then if these things are in the mix of it, we're definitely going to have a conversation about it. And I will give a person the opportunity to be able to offload or talk or whatever it may be.
Offload.
Yeah?
Pause.
All right, cool. Yeah, whatever. But like, it's just mad to me, yeah, that people, it's like, I don't understand sometimes what people want from me. Like, you want me to come out and say,
I know what they want.
You want me to come out and say, like, what the, there's not even much to discuss.
Give them what they want, Chuckie, man.
Like what?
Give
like,
them what they
wait,
want.
Wait, but what do I say? Like,
want
let me just.
But I
I'm
can
gonna
tell
let
you
you
all
go.
of that.
What
They
do I
want
say?
tea
What I
on
do
the
say
roof.
is, what I do say is, and this is what I still stand by. This from the surface of what's going on does look a little bit mad. He's had his Scorcher's come out. I mean, Scorcher's come out. He said whatever it is that he said and whatnot. Wretch has come and had that response. I said on the podcast, you know what? If the situation is the way that it seems to be, the response is a little bit strong, considering that, you know, anyone that is ever in a relationship with someone, whether you know the person, whether you know the guy that's going to be with your girl or not, yeah, sometimes people can be a little bit hurt. So it's expected for somebody to want to go out in the music and just send a little line here and there. But also, do you know what? There's one thing that, like, I'm not going to speculate on until somebody says it, is that I don't know the conversations that these two have had.
Yeah.
Maybe, let's do it now. Maybe Wretch has had conversations with Scorcher a bunch of times to explain to him what this situation is and how it's been the way that maybe, I'm not saying it has, but maybe he has. Maybe he's sat down and tried to reach out a bunch of times. Maybe he's tried to want to talk about it. Maybe they've had a whole bunch of conversations or whatever it may be. And then still in his mind, he's seeing it as, rah, I've reached out, I've tried X, Y, and Z, I've tried everything. You've gone out, you've done this freestyle or whatever it is. Bruv, I'm just not even rating it. So that's why I'm not saying that it warranted that response. But sometimes if somebody is trying to do something and then you act a certain way, you can't necessarily choose the response. But you know what? I don't know any of these things. The only way that anyone is going to be able to find out is if either one of them go and talk about it. And guess what? I'm not going to be the person to ring a man's phone down and tell him, rah, come and sit on the couch and discuss your private life with me. Yeah. No way. If it's in the music and you so happen to be sitting on the couch, we'll discuss it. This romanticizing thing about, this is why we need Charlemagne, this is why we need Ebro, I just think is so air to me. In fact, with the whole Stormzy thing, Stormzy had this album coming out or whatever, yeah. No one really got a big, long conversation with this guy. We were supposed to do it or whatnot, yeah. We were supposed to have the conversation with him. This is not a diss to him, but like, obviously he's gone to America. He sat down with Ebro and whatnot, and Ebro has come. And bearing in mind, I respect Ebro. I like him. I watch a lot of his stuff and whatnot. Yeah, I respect him as what he's done for Hot 97 and even as a presenter. But honestly, I felt like that interview that he had with Stormzy, in my opinion, was shit. Like a man coming at you, fucking around with Georgia and you this that. But you know what it is, yeah? The public just love to see somebody just come out and just be super outlandish with it. Me personally, that's not what I like to see. So because I don't like to see it, that's not the type of person I'm going to come out and be myself. I want to like hear somebody unpack certain stuff. And like this whole romanticize, it's mad because people were doing it with artists. I remember at a point, people wanted to like so much bust America and do all of this, and then we empowered ourselves. We all empowered ourselves and was like, fuck what's going on over there. Let's do what we do here. Let's stop making the sound that they make. Let's do our own thing, create something, and then let's see what happens from then. Let's do that. But you know what? Yeah, they have. They nicked it. But you know what? It's like, I feel like we've gone back a little bit. Like this whole thing of everyone's crying out for Charlemagne and Ebro. Bearing in mind, Charlemagne walks around with security. Big America walks around with security, and I love Charlemagne, but like this whole romanticizing of having somebody come out and just be disrespectful or just outlandish for the sake of being outlandish, to me, if you're asking me for it, this is the wrong place for it. There's other people that do that. Go over there and they do that.
I've got 3 ways to break this though. First of all, lads, I just don't really want to talk about it. No one can tell me what to do.
Straight.
I don't want to talk about it. If that upsets you to the point where your day's ruined, that's your problem. That ain't my problem. My day's lit. I don't want to talk about it really, so I'm not going to talk about it. If you think I'm a cunt and you don't like me, I'll take you dinner on Valentine's. I don't really give a shit. That's number 1. Number 2, I get why you want me to talk about it. 7 years ago, I was that guy that would have spoken about every fucking story in the States happening. Yeah. The only difference between me and the viewer is that I've grown up in this industry. I haven't just been in it last year. I've been in it since 2000 and fuck knows what. So I just have a stronger relationship with these people. So I've got a bit of responsibility on that relationship to just not embarrass people or just not give everyone how I feel. Because if I really care, I'll just phone them and tell them. But I haven't phoned them and told them. So essentially, I don't care. So for them to find out how I feel about a situation when I have both of their numbers for the first time on this podcast, that's a massive L for me. So I just wouldn't do that. So I apologise for that as well, people. And most importantly, I've done this podcast since what year?
We're like 5 years in.
5, 6 years?
5, 6.
I think it's 2014.
This will April, coming up to April, will be like the 6th year, I believe.
So I've done this for 6 years. I've said a whole heap of drama. I've got myself in a whole heap of problems. And the one time I don't chat, you want to... you don't chat about it. You go make a podcast and you go talk about it. Like, why do you want me to talk about...
I understand
the most important thing as well, amongst all of this, is there is somebody who essentially is going to be mentally damaged on how to have a relationship. Potentially, their potential ability to have a relationship is going to be tarnished by this one situation, and that's the child. So I'm just not going to run joke on somebody that could potentially...
All right.
I'm just not on that.
Can I interject here? So let me play the role of the viewer, yeah?
But I love you.
Because this is what the viewer's going to say to what you said, right? And to what you said. They're going to say, why even talk about it?
Exactly.
Period. That's what they're going to say. Why even mention their names
and
then?
This is what I will say.
That's what they're going to say.
This is my podcast. If I want to chat about having a shit whilst the Queen's watching on her iPhone,
no, but they're going to find that as contradictory because you're saying I don't want to chat about this, but then they're going to say, why have you even mentioned the 2 names?
Because
there's no point.
To.
But then they're just going to say you just said you didn't want to talk about it.
Don't watch it. If you are watching something and you're getting upset, it's got nothing to do with
I can counteract it because for me personally, I don't mind talking about it, but there's not much to discuss.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like everything that there is for me to discuss is private information that has not come out yet. So there's no way I'm even going to see. And you know what? And I don't even know if it's true. So I'm not going to sit and start saying, well, do you know what as well? Do you know, I heard.
Listen.
Well, I'm not going to go into that. I know everything. But what I will say is the most important things, I do things every day, which I don't really want to do.
Yeah,
and I imagine loads of people in life do that. This is just one of the, I didn't really want to have the conversation, but Chuckie brought it up and Chuckie's my mate. Yeah. And we do a job. So I'll talk about it as far as I can go. Yeah. But if that upsets anyone...
It shouldn't upset no one.
That's ridiculous. I think. Do you know what it is? We didn't discuss it in the way that some people would have wanted us to discuss. But where I'm confused is I don't understand how someone wants me to discuss this. Like because
Chuckie, what is Drake's
no, this is what I want you to do.
We will discuss Drake's child in fucking Amsterdam with some random stripper and laugh about it. But we can't do that with this because I don't know these.
Do you know why it's different?
Do you know why it's different? It's not. It's still a child.
I'll tell you why it's different. Of course it's still a child. The reason why it's different is because the information was put out there by Pusha T. So there was a conversation that was had. Okay, this is the perfect analogy actually.
Chuckie,
wait, can I just say this?
We wouldn't talk about this.
I hear that still.
Stop trying to defend it. We wouldn't talk about this.
Let me just finish anyway. Let me just land, yeah?
Cool.
Joe Budden probably or maybe might have heard about this from before. He might have heard about the fact that there was a child running around and all of this type of stuff. But you know what? He didn't go on his platform and sit there and talk about it. He didn't say it. But you know what? Pusha T came out and sat right next to him and said, bro, where I got this information from was X, Y, and Z. So now there is a conversation. It became a big thing because Drake is obviously an absolute superstar. So naturally, him being an absolute superstar, that becomes that that conversation about who is she and blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. By God's honest truth, bro, like, I couldn't really care less about who the mother of his child is and all of these type of things. Yes, it's mad information to know from a fan that I'm a fan of. Yeah. Did we sit here and have... Let me ask you this question, Poet. Did we sit and talk for 45 minutes or an hour about him having a child?
No. But I'm letting you know the consumer, like, but they just want us to chat, and I get it. But
do you know why? Do you know why they want you to chat as well? Do you know why it's even more?
But we still brought it up though, right?
No, you did. It's
the same thing. We brought up the Drake thing, and this is another thing I think some people might use against me in some way. The Georgia Smith thing, but again, it's all in the art. All of that was all in the art. If I didn't the Drake and Georgia Smith situation. Oh, it's all in the art. If it wasn't in the art, then I don't have nothing to go off, and I'm not going to bring anything. And again, that's still the Georgia Smith situation wasn't a whole podcast. It was just this is what the situation.
Do you know what it is? Do you know some of your viewers? Yeah, some of your viewers have the information about this situation. Right? Yeah, they obviously have the information.
I bet they don't.
Or they have the rumors.
I bet they don't.
No. But if they didn't have the information, they wouldn't be asking for your deep dive on it. That's why they have the information, or they've heard rumors in WhatsApp groups. Things spread so easily now. Someone will put this in a WhatsApp group. There'll be man them in a WhatsApp group gossiping about it. There might be girls in a group gossip. Things spread so easy now. Did you hear about this? Did you hear about this? Especially in this small scene and this small demographic that tune into Halfcast. Yeah. They in this small. You know what I mean? In the urban demographic, not in the. You're not mainstream, are you? You're not commercial. I'm the best. In your mainstream demographic, they've been talking about this. Do you get what I'm saying? And they've been obviously they know what's going on, but they're just looking for you guys' opinion on it. But I think it's good that you didn't give your opinion on it because it's too private. This stuff is too private. It's too sensitive. And you know them, and you know these people.
What opinion can be made on it anyway? Just throw some, like, it doesn't have to be your opinion.
You have to talk about it in order to even delve in.
What could be the opinion?
What did I say? If there's 100 people and you give them a situation and 50 don't care and 50 do care, do you ever find out that the 50 don't care? Honestly, people, I get it. Yeah. But if you took your time out to type a message and leave a comment and be upset, if you've done it in a constructive way, I'm willing to listen. In anything else, I'm just afraid it's your problem. And I get it. I fully get it. I get you're angry, but you know what? Top Boy is really good, and it's still on Netflix now. Have a watch.
Honestly, bro, my honest opinion is that I just don't even think that there's even enough to discuss. There's not even enough to discuss. The only way that there can be enough to discuss is if one of them discussed it. All we know is, really, I mean, it's different for you because of your relationship with maybe them or where you live and people that you know, whatever. But just for me, the information that I have is so surface level. It's not even I can't discuss that.
Now pause. Now imagine that. Are you being genuine when you say that?
What do you mean?
Your information is surface level.
Mine is surface. Like the things that
Mine isn't surface, but you're one of my best friends and you don't know. But I haven't told you, but they want to know. Furthermore, I don't want to talk about it no more. I haven't even told one of my best friends, but you lot all want to know.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, that's mad. I don't know. So like, I don't know. Like the only thing that could come out of a conversation, the only thing that could come out of a conversation like that is us having a conversation about, you know, would you date your friend's missus or whatever?
Well, that's what they want. That's what they want. They want the fuckery. They want that.
And I hear that. Do you know what? I hear that. And do you know what? We will discuss those type of things, but in a different context, because even off discussing that from that context, we could be sitting here saying, I'm not going to do this, that, and whatever. But there might be, maybe not, but there might be a whole bunch of things that we're just completely missing. And I'm comfortable with doing that sometimes, but there's the occasional situation that I'm just not comfortable with doing that when I've the you and the fucking it's just like this one
we've given you gigs and creps. I mean, that was uncomfortable. We've spoken about Wiley, Stormzy, Cuz,
bro, I did
even here for the creps.
I'll be real. I've given people more entertainment than I've given some females more entertainment than their partner, fam. Like, allow me, Cuz. Like, allow Chuckie, fam.
Bro, analogy, bro.
I did Skepta.
Yeah, man.
One petal missing.
What's this?
It's the rose analogy. Someone give you a bouquet of roses. And you won't appreciate all the nice roses in there. You'll just focus on the one with the petal missing. Bro, and that's here. You lot give them all the content, all of this, and this one opportunity. You didn't speak about this, and it's
Mitch.
It's hell.
I even did Skepta. You know that. I even said there was I didn't make a big deal out of it. It was only because it was in the art that there's like a few times in a couple of albums or whatever he's mentioned X or whatnot, and I brought that up. I said, like, you know, clearly there's something that's happened there. Maybe a man needs healing, whatever it may be. Nah, I didn't. I didn't get a phone call. He's cool. He's all right.
Doing his thing. I love
I'm just saying in general, that's usually how it happens, isn't it?
That was in the art. I just used what someone had said in words and was like, had a small discussion.
But people are going to say this is in the art, Chuckie. People are going to say this is in the art. Man's putting a freestyle.
But I couldn't have
we
couldn't do a big podcast about it because I don't know nothing really.
But
and I don't want to. I don't even want to speculate on that. I don't even want to. I don't even want to.
I don't want to talk about it. I'm done now. Man's having a long talk about why I don't want to talk about it. I'm an L. It's true. I don't want to talk about it.
It's true. It's true.
Leave a comment. Be angry. I get it. I fully get it. But I tell you what, fam, life don't change. And most
if there wasn't you involved though,
this is what I will say though. Anyone that is upset that me and Chuckie didn't say nothing and your dad's not in your life, you've never had a meal
what
to provide.
Was there to say?
Don't get angry at me.
This is the thing.
Leave me alone.
This is where the lines are blurred because you're talking about not saying anything because you know whatever it is that you know. I don't even know anything. What is
Chuckie,
to talk?
I'm saying to you, if you don't know and you're my good brethren, how are they gonna know? So it's just put it to bed.
Were people actually angry? Like, was it a backlash or it weren't that? Was it?
They just thought that.
Let me show you something. I'll tell you who after.
Do you know what? In hindsight,
I was in studio yesterday in the booth making a song. A man's knocked on the door, cuz. Like I was.
Why you haven't?
They're like, I was meaning to talk to you. And I was like, what happened here? And then they spoke about that, but I was super up. Like, you know what I'm talking about. So my way of communicating it was almost like I didn't care, but I did care because I don't want to upset my brethren. But in the same breath, I'm like, but why do you think I need to? I was like, but bro, I don't tell you what to do. I've never I will suggest things, but I don't say you should do this type of thing. How are you telling me what I should do and who I am? I am a poet. If you want to interpret me as a cultural commentator, if you want to interpret me as an arsehole, whatever your interpretation is, you have to understand it belongs to you. And that goes for Chuckie as well. Chuckie's a DJ, he's a good friend, he's so many different titles. Whatever resonates with you, you can be upset. But if Chuckie doesn't believe that's who he is, who are you to tell him what to do? It just doesn't make any sense. But you can.
There's one thing that I would probably do that I know that you probably wouldn't do. But if, let's say, for example, if Wretch or Scorcher went on a platform and they discussed whatever it is that they discussed and talked a lot about it, then I would be on a podcast and just have a little segment about what was discussed because I'm a fan of these guys and it's a bit unfortunate more than anything that I'm just never going to see a fucking movement
Chuckie,
thing.
please, just stop, man. I can't talk about not talking about something for too long, man. It's just, who cares, man?
I think you lot should just. I think it's sick that you guys have got such a passionate audience, man. That really want you. They're interactive, bro. They're giving you, they're telling you lot what they want to hear, and that's a good thing.
I'll be real with you.
Even if it can be jarring, it's a good thing because they're telling you what they want. Do you know what I mean?
But I don't think they're fans of me. I don't think that if you know me, you wouldn't have expected that.
But they might be fans of the platform.
I don't think they're fans of the platform. I just think they're fans of gossip.
They might have expected it from me, and the thing is, I'm okay with that, but I'm just a bit like, and that's cool. The thing is, as well, like just from a friend perspective, I know what is going to make a good conversation with you and what isn't going to make a good conversation with you. And if I felt like there was something to discuss in this and you wasn't going to discuss it, I just
Chuckie,
wouldn't discuss it with you.
who are you trying to prove this point to now? Because I believe you. Huh?
No one. I'm just
forget
I'm just having a conversation
with yourself. Apparently, big man, forget it, fam. Who cares? Like, I don't even want you to explain to anybody why you don't want to talk about something you don't want to speak about. You're not obligated to.
There's nothing to. I don't even know what to like.
We know what there's to talk about. We understand what you lot want to hear. We know what you lot want to hear. I'm not going to provide it. But what? Chuckie is saying he's not going to provide it.
What though? That's what I'm back about.
I'm just telling you, I'm not going to provide it. You keep saying what? I don't know who you're asking, Chuckie, but they're not here to answer you. Let's put it to bed like a child above the age of, I don't know, or under the age of 2, up, and it's 7 o'clock. Go to your bed. Forget it now. It's done. It's over. I'm not going to say
I will say this, though. If it wasn't as deep as it is, then I wouldn't mind seeing a back and forth with them, man. 3 tunes each to see what's happening.
I don't mind having that. I wouldn't mind seeing
that. Lyrical
flex.
Yeah,
a little, yeah. Them two, 3 tunes each.
I don't think Wretch would win that.
Huh?
I don't think Wretch could win, so.
Don't you?
No, because Wretch, the way he makes music, well, I could be wrong. I just think Wretch is he's just in a different space, fam. I just don't think he's on that. Maybe if he was still in that world.
He said he's not on it. He said he's not on this going back and forth.
Yeah,
he said it in the thing.
So I wouldn't want to see it because it wouldn't
depends on what he says in the bars, though.
Huh?
I said if you tap into that inner petty, it depends on what he says in the bars.
I think some things, certain scenarios and how deep the issues are, the mic gets turned off, bro. It's in the real world, and this thing's in the real world, so there's no point in even elaborating on it anymore.
Has Wretch battled anyone?
This is beyond the art. Has
Wretch battled anyone?
I reckon back in the day, they were battling. The whole of the movement was battling Wiley, so I reckon at some point. But Wretch has never really been known for me, if not that I can remember. Someone will obviously correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember a monumental clash from Wretch. He's just a man that's always had bars, made good rhythms, and cut through. That's his thing.
Yeah, absolute microphone specialist. But
Scorcher loved war. I remember Scorcher versus Frisco. It was mad.
Scorcher's fucking.
That was mad. God. Frisco went crazy.
They're both two of the coldest. That's the maddest thing about it.
That's why I think 3 tunes each would just be a mad thing. But anyway,
two of the coldest ever.
But anyway, yeah. Hopefully, at some point,
the movement thing's over. I can see the.
Oh, that's what hurts
in your face.
That's what hurts.
I know. I can tell.
That's the thing that hurts the most for me. It's done.
Devlin's still
and you know what? Can I just say this as well? I don't want to see no half. I don't want to see no half movement either. What's that?
Do you see Devlin's Brexit post? Did you see it?
I did. Yeah.
Got anything to weigh in on that?
No, if that's how he just chooses to use his vote and stuff like that.
The movement's done, man.
But yeah, the movement's done. And I don't want to see no half movement. I don't want to see two of them. Like, I just don't want, like, if it's not all of them, I don't want to see
Chuckie, you take a look at Scorcher Wretch and that Devlin post, the movement is over. That is stationary now.
Could you imagine that, like, all of them in the studio? Could you imagine all of them in the studio?
One man army would hold it down by himself.
Hold down
Gets.
He'll clash the whole of boy better know anyone. He'll hold it down.
Yeah, he'll just say, you know what, you man, stand back.
Merkson's still here as well. Just dropped the album.
Have you heard Merkson's album, bro? It's so cold.
Flow father.
I'm not even going.
He's a flow father,
bro. It's got so much things in it, bro. It's just got so much substance in it, like a lot of substance in it. He says a lot of things in it as well. It's not just he's not just sitting there just being a microphone specialist. Like, he's saying some shit.
He also talks about Wretch and Scorcher. You should buy the album.
And he's got Wretch on it.
Of course he has.
He doesn't have Scorcher on it though.
Chuckie, go fuck yourself, man.
What? Like, of course, you don't have. Why don't he? Like, if he comes on the thing, I'll ask him. Like, why? Like, everyone's on there. Why is he not on there? That's a conversation.
I miss those days, man.
Bruv.
Where all the superstars just linked up and then they were just clashing.
Too much money now.
Superstars linked up. No one. There's no real, like, I don't know, man. There's not clicks like that anymore.
Everyone's
just link up and freestyle on road.
Yeah, but do you think that genuine energy is not there? So I'm glad it doesn't happen. Back in the day, we did it because it was like, man really wanted to, whereas now, and it was more about you showing how good you are. Whereas now it's like, let's pretend to be friends so we can collaborate and make some more money.
And just be happy that we witnessed it. When
so
it was
money in the scene was a gift and a curse.
I'm glad man can get their mum a house. I'm glad man can get themselves a house. I'm glad man can just do their own thing. But when that becomes the sole reason why you're doing it, you just begin to wonder. Like, imagine your happiness has an ending. I'll be so happy when I get a house. Then what happens? My happiness is life. So that's why I don't think it will ever end. So, like, no one thing will make me really happy apart from the children thing. But apart from that, like, I'll be happy for a moment for getting a nice jumper. But then afterwards, you're like,
novelty wears off.
So, like, I don't want to put happiness in things the way the novelty will wear off, fam.
Yeah.
And that's what I think that's happened in the scene. Like, grime will live on forever beyond you. Your car will eventually one day you have to get a new car. How can your happiness within your car mean more to you than a genre of music that's allowed you to get a car? And I don't really understand that, but you know what? Who
Can
cares?
I just throw something out there that's quite irrelevant as well? But I just want to say it just because it's my podcast and I can say whatever I want.
That's why you're my brother.
Firstly, see, when I ask someone, an artist or whoever, to come and sit on the couch with me, this is most definitely for me never about chasing a moment. It's about me wanting to have a conversation with them about life or music or
what was in them
whatever.
comments, bro?
Yeah, and secondly,
addressing someone. You're thinking of someone when you say this.
Who are you talking
to? Because Chuckie never does this.
Chuckie, someone said something to you, and that whole time when I was saying who you speaking to, they're not here. Yeah. Who is it, Chuckie?
Bro,
would you like to say their name?
Never done this.
For example,
you've never done this.
Say, like,
this
for
level.
example,
who is it,
like
Chuckie?
Hussey, yeah?
Was it Benny?
Bro, bro, it was Benny Scott.
I knew it because his birthday. Happy birthday, Benny! You.
For example, if I ask J Huss to come here, I want J Huss to come here not because he sent a bunch of text, tweets and all of these type of things. It's because I want to have a conversation with him about a lot of different things. Do you get what I'm saying?
I want to talk about the tweets, so I can't lie.
Of course, bro. Of course, it's going to be a part of the conversation, but that's not why I invite a man down, because, like, and that's why I feel a lot of these platforms do that, which is fine. Someone, you know, sends a mad tweet, says something maybe homophobic or whatever it is, and now all of a sudden everyone wants to interview that person because it becomes the click thing. not me. I'm just a fan of this thing, and I just want to have some conversations with people. And of course, naturally, if things have happened and it needs to be a part of the conversation, it will. Fuck romanticizing those American dons, man. Seriously.
So basically, you're upset that Stormzy didn't do an interview with you.
No, I'm not upset about that. But we could talk about that if you want.
Go on.
Okay. No, I don't.
Wait, he's
No,
drawing you
that's
out.
not why I was up. I know you was upset. I wasn't upset about Stormzy
Who was
not
upset?
coming in.
Callum,
doing
were you
it.
upset?
Yeah, just at the what exactly happened around that time.
Without getting into the details,
fact
the
that it
details are
didn't
mad.
Exactly happened, like not the reason.
I would have been
like,
pissed if it was anyone.
how it didn't.
Yeah.
happen.
To be honest with you,
Pissed me off.
I would have
I'll
been
be
pissed if
real.
it was anyone.
I'll be real, I'm very
Yeah.
impartial.
And
that's what Chuckie just said.
If they
Yeah.
dealt with it that
Me?
way, fuck.
I'm with that.
No way.
I'm with
Obviously,
that.
we were sitting here waiting and all this type of stuff and whatnot, and maybe that wasn't down to him, but like that's just.
Wait,
the
you
big
was
story
here?
of it. Yeah, we was here.
Yes.
We was
I didn't know
here.
that.
We were already here.
We was here.
All right, I can't lie to you.
But
then,
also-
yeah, I'm pissed off.
But also as well, I just
Mine are
think that like
You man waited.
I just see, and again, it's only I just see like some people just discussing a lot about like, you know, people over here being scared to ask questions and that, and I just think, where does this come from? Like, this is all mad to me. And even with the Stormzy thing in particular, the one thing that I would ideally like for not to happen, it can have. Do you know what? Whatever, fuck it. But my thing is that like with me, yeah, being a fan of certain artists or whatnot, like there are certain conversations that I, from a selfish point of view, would like to see them have.
Yeah.
And see, like with Stormzy, for example, the big long conversations, the big in-depth long conversations were all with Americans. And for me, when I'm sitting and listening to some of them, from the fan that I am of him, none of them served me, because this is just all about, it seemed as like targeting the American audience or whatever. And I understand that there's a business within that. Whereas I would like to see a conversation with, take me out of the equation. Let's say Amaru or, you know, DJ Double or whatever. There's like a certain style of conversation.
I
would like.
I want you, Chuckie.
All right, cool. Whatever it may be, there's a certain style of conversation that I would like to see. And I just feel like at the moment there is this romanticizing thing about like
let me just say it straight, Chuckie, because you're saying it.
No, wait, let me just say this before you interact.
Yeah.
Why is it that, for example, Ebro is doing the long conversation with someone like Stormzy and not Julie?
This is the truth of the matter. I'm just gonna say it as it is. Let me just say the truth of the matter. First of all, any English
I'm using that
artist,
as an example.
and forget Stormzy. I don't even want to talk about Stormzy. Great guy, everyone's great. But any artist that goes and gives all their press to the States is a very confusing situation for me. Anyway, I don't get that. But do what you want. Maybe you get it. And secondly, I don't mean to be rude. I don't know if you jump in my DMs, it means you're upset, fam. Half of these English artists don't want to talk about anything anyway. All they want man to do is just lick their ass. And I'm here to tell the world, my ass isn't big, but I would rather lick that. Like, this is the truth, fam. Man's got Halfcast, fam. Man's built Halfcast for 6 years. I have not built the platforms I built and the people in and around me to come and just kiss someone's ass. No. If you come here, you respect the fact that as much as you've worked hard to get where you are, so has man. And we've got a certain style in the way we do things. So I'll be honest with you, Chuckie. If artists come here, more time, I don't even want to chat to them about like them unless something really happened. I don't want to talk about your album. I'll listen to it. I want to talk about like, I just don't want to talk about nonsense. I'd rather talk to them about bollocks than talk to them about something that I can access the information elsewhere.
That's the only way. That's the only way we're different.
I just don't like it. Oh, so what mode was you in when you made that third song? I don't give a shit.
That's not my style.
No one cares. I don't want to hear about where you was mentally. I don't care, fam. Like
I do. And that's why I would
care
do.
about that stuff.
And do you know what? Maybe Maybe in fact, then,
Maybe that's what I'm
I won't
talking
do it here. Maybe we'll just do it. I'll create something different and use the same channel.
But
like,
Chuckie, it
my
needs to be an
interview,
interesting
my
person, though.
podcast. I mean, my conversation tactics are never the generic. You know, how do you feel? But there are. I like to.
Now,
know
Chuckie,
more.
hold that. It's not generic, but man gets bare requests of artists that have it. Like, to me, I think Halfcast is the perfect platform for somebody who's been here for a very long time to come here and have a chat.
Yeah.
But there's so much to talk about. But if you've been there for 5 minutes, cause I can't lie to you, fam.
No, I
man.
hear that still.
It's just I don't even know what I'm going to speak to you about. Like, I just don't know I just don't get it. So.